You know, one of the best things about growing older is you're able to watch people grow and come into the business and witness the mistakes and how they pick themselves back up and how they do things and what they really turn into as they grow. Charlie Kirk is a guy I've been watching for a very long time and is really remarkable. Has his head on right, is playing a very big role, and none of it is going to his head, at least that I have seen. And that is extraordinarily difficult when you are as young as he is and up against so much power and fame all around you. Charlie Kirk was in Greenland yesterday. He joins me now. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Glenn. Honor to be here. And I got to tell you, that is an introduction I never thought I'd get in my life. Charlie Kirk was in Greenland yesterday. So honored to be here. And,
it doesn't usually happen unless, like, your plane is having an emergency, you know?
No, that's right. Yeah, it's not always a destination. But Glenn, you're a friend and a teacher and a mentor, and honored by those words. Thank you.
Yeah. So how did this come about? Did you just get a call from Don Jr. who's like, hey, let's go to Greenland?
Yeah, it was in the news cycle, and Don's a big outdoorsman, and I'm very close friends with him. And he said, hey, before the new administration comes in, he said, why don't I just go do a trip to Greenland and just kind of go get to know the culture and get to see what's, going on there. And one thing led to the other, and I was invited on this and took Trump Force One in the middle of the night, flew all the way up to Nuuk. You can only land within their little window of daylight there. The sun rises at 11 a.m., and it sets at 3:30. So for all of you listening right now in Minneapolis or Chicago, if you think you have it bad, you have no idea. It could get even worse. But I got to say, Glenn, I was blown away at the worldwide movement that MAGA has created. We were met by hundreds of people in MAGA hats in the streets of Nuuk, people that love America, that want to be part of America. And Don wanted to go, and I wanted to go also, to just learn what is Greenland's place in the world. What does it have to offer? First of all, striking beauty. There's only one state that I think compares, and that would be Alaska. I mean, it's breathtaking, Glenn. You would love it. I mean, and the pictures don't do it justice. I'm talking about untouched, serene beauty. That's number one. Number two, incredible natural resources that the current Danish government, who controls Greenland, does not allow locals to exploit or use or take advantage of. I'm talking about resources we might not even be aware of, but they have gold, they have rubies, they have oil, natural gas, just remarkable. And number three, which I think is
they have rare earth minerals. Big time. It is wildly, but the problem is Denmark won't let them do anything. Well, the United States won't let Alaska do anything either. I mean, we're taking advantage of some of it, but I think this is the best investment America could make in my lifetime. I think this would be a great investment. But it would take a Donald Trump to let us actually use it responsibly, too.
Totally. And, I mean, thankfully with President Trump, I think we'll get Anwar back in Alaska. And so, but what I also saw, though, is that the people of Greenland, they can't stand Denmark. They think that the Danes mistreat them, take advantage of them, and they want to be part of America. And if this deal were to be brokered, which, just looking at now as a tourist coming there and back, I think it's totally possible, especially with President Trump coming in. This would be such a net benefit for the United States for national security reasons. The Arctic is becoming an increasing hot center with China and Russia. We're seeing
and Canada has let Russia just walk all over the Arctic Circle.
That's right. Exactly. And the people are wonderful. I mean, we also went to a cultural center, Glenn, kind of their local museum, and they had drawings and pictures of people, 600 years ago, before any heating obviously existed, that were able to survive in these winters. I mean, there are very tough people that have been through a lot. That's a largely forgotten island, and now it's one of the talks of the world, and I think that's just really exciting. And I think if the deal were to be brokered, only President Trump could do it, and Denmark is not utilizing it. Instead, they're actually, I think, harming the great people of Nuuk and Greenland. And, hey, one day we might have lots of nonstop flights from New York and Chicago to Nuuk, and I would love to welcome the people of Greenland into the United States of America.
It would be interesting because the real obstacle here is Denmark. They have, we've tried to buy Greenland several times, back in the 1800s it began, and Denmark is no. But, $1 trillion, we've given $1 trillion away to the banks. This would be the best expenditure of $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion that America could make. That's a real investment. But do you think the Danes would be interested at all?
Well, again, it's the art of the deal, right? So just kind of thinking out loud here. Number one, how much of a say do the Danes actually have? We pay for all their military defense basically through NATO. We're the ones that are keeping, Putin at bay. We're the ones that continue to fund all of these military bases throughout Europe. So maybe it's time that we flex a little bit of that muscle and use some of that leverage of all of these blank checks that we've been writing all throughout Europe. That's number one. Number two, though, is that Denmark is not even using the natural resources that are at their disposal to be able to, guess what, make Europe no longer dependent on Russian oil. I mean, to make Europe no longer dependent on Middle Eastern oil. So what you have is this incredible reservoir of oil and natural gas that is much closer in approximation to Europe than any of the other places they get oil from. And then finally, I think you make this astute point. Denmark is nowhere near as wealthy of a country as America. And the people, and this is the final kicker, the people of Greenland do not like their current rulers. If it was held to a vote, they would vote to leave Denmark. In fact, you saw the Greenlandic prime minister in the news saying, we want our independence. We no longer want to be part of this. We want to be our own sovereign nation. That's a great first step. That means they want to break free of the shackles of the Danish government who mistreat them. And Glenn, you would really appreciate this. There were young people of Nuuk. I'm talking 18, 19, 20 years old that follow us on TikTok and follow us, and they're fans. They said, when we go to Copenhagen, which is our, we are mistreated. We are called racist. They're racist. They don't like us. They say, get out of Copenhagen, go back to your home of Nuuk. But when we meet Americans, we are treated like human beings that have opportunity. And isn't that the American story? We don't care about where you're from. We care about your potential. And they finally said this. They said the nicest people that ever come to Greenland on the planet are always Americans. They said they always come and they're so warm. And they said the Europeans, they don't want anything to do with us. And so there's a lot here, Glenn. It's not as if that these people are thrilled with their current relationship with Denmark. No. And I think this deal could be brokered, and it would exponentially benefit the United States of America.
So, the things that Donald Trump is talking about now, Greenland, he is absolutely serious about that, and he should be. I think Correct. It would be a tremendous. I mean, that's a moonshot. That's a president looking to the future, and the same with Panama Canal. Panama Canal is in the hands of China right now. And Correct. This is a Cuban Missile Crisis kind of scenario that I haven't heard anybody talk about until Donald Trump. It is true national security. Canada, I think he's just trolling Canada and negotiating. He's serious about the border. But what a great way to say, instead of saying, I am going to rake your people over the coals with all kinds of tariffs if you don't stop what's happening on the border. Instead saying, trolling Trudeau at the same time saying, hey, why don't you join the family, man? We love you. We already love you. Let's just come together. I mean, brilliant strategy, right. I think.
Yeah. And look, the Canadian thing, to be honest, as an American, Glenn, I don't know if I want all of Canada.
I don't either. And if they want to buy Minnesota, I'll sell it to them for a cup of coffee and maybe a half a sandwich.
Exactly. I think we could trade Alberta for Minnesota. That would be
it'd be great.
I love the people of Minnesota, but the Minneapolis is not great. Edmonton is great too, by the way. Tons of natural resources and wonderful people. But look, the Panama Canal, we could talk extensively about that. I mean, the president is as serious as sin on that one. That is the choke point right now. We built it. Yeah. A lot of Americans died building it. We never should have given away control of it. It's what connects two hemispheres together. And look, the Chinese are trying to build another canal right now in a neighboring country because, they're afraid that America might actually take back control of the Panama Canal. So Greenland plus Panama would strengthen the northern hemisphere, our hemisphere right here, the western and northern hemisphere, would strengthen it in a way for generations to come, especially as we are seeing the rise of the belligerent Chinese Communist Party.
I haven't been able to get a hold of Mr. Rand or McNally. Can the president just say it's going to be the Gulf of America?
That's a really interesting question. The answer is yes. So there's these boards and commissions that rarely get any of attention. You might remember Obama went through one of those boards and commissions and renamed Mount McKinley to Denali. Yes. And
Right.
so it's just a naming commission, and the president has full authority of who sits on them. And so the president is probably going to put 5 or 6 loyalists there and rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
I love that.
By the way,
I love
more
that.
of our coastline is there. Why is it that we named it the Gulf of Mexico? So that one's getting done. Out of all the ones, it is going to be the Gulf of America. And
I love that.
President Trump, that will be one of his many legacies.
So, Charlie, what is your role? Are you part of the transition committee? Or are you just kind of there from time to time? And
my title is
your role?
Friend of the President. Friend of the President.
Okay.
No, I'm just here to be helpful. I'm still running Turning Point, still doing the show, and I'm just blown away, Glenn, at the opportunities that I'm being given and the people I get to speak to. It's just I have to pinch myself, and I'm humbled by it.
I'm so excited by everything that Trump is doing. I become more optimistic every single day in watching him and seeing where we're going. Can I ask you something really self-serving?
Yes.
Okay. He just listen to the pause on that. Oh, God, yes. I'd like to see how powerful you are. I want to be on the 250th anniversary committee that is putting together the anniversary of our country in 26. And I got a lot I can bring to the table. Who do I talk to, Charlie?
I think you'd be spectacular, and there is going to be a special commission for that.
I know.
By the way, it's not the bicentennial. It has a very long name. It's like the Quinton I can't remember centennial.
Yeah, I know. You keep calling it the 250th.
No, that's right. Just to educate the audience, though, coming up next July, not this July, July of 26 is our 250th birthday, and the president wants to do something spectacular, and big and bold.
Yeah.
And it will
real
just
quick,
be amazing.
I got 40 seconds. Any update on Dennis Prager?
Oh, boy. It's funny. Dennis went to Greenland this last summer, so I called him from Greenland, and he was just thrilled to hear from me. He's still in a very serious condition right now. He's fighting every day. I'm not at liberty to talk about all the medical details, but everybody in your audience, please pray and fast for Dennis Prager. We need that extraordinary mind back behind the microphone and finishing his Torah commentary. But I'm communicating with him and his family on a daily basis, so please pray for Dennis Prager.
Yeah, Charlie, as always, great to talk to you. So proud of you and so happy for your success. God bless.